So I'm going to be trying to read for 24 hours straight. This is probably a very bad idea, but hopefully it's going to be fun. So the TBR for this readathon, for reading for 24 hours straight, I have chosen 4 books, but I don't know if I'll need more or not. I wanted to kind of have a TBR so that I kind of had an idea of what I wanted to read next and stuff, so that I wasn't taking a long time to choose like I normally do. So the first book is This Girl by Colin Hoover. This book I'm actually currently reading and I am 160 pages in, so I haven't got much left of it, and so this is the first one I'm going to be reading and quickly finish that off. And I am listening to the audiobook of it because I've read the first and second book. I'll explain my thoughts of this after I finished it, but there's a reason for why I'm listening to the audiobook, and I will, like I said, I'll explain that. Next on my TBR is Throttled by Lauren Asher. I want to start this series and I just need to get to it. And if you've been here for a while, you know the story about this, of it's been on my TBR many months. I just haven't got round to it, and I don't feel like I ever will if I don't start it in this readathon. Next is My Killer Vacation. I actually did start this last night and I got almost 100 pages in, so I am also quite far into this as well, and I am enjoying it so far actually, which I didn't think I would because I've heard not great things about it. And the last one I got on my TBR at the moment is After I Do by Tay Jenkins Reid. I love Tay Jenkins Reid books. This is the last book I have of hers to read, which is really sad, but I'm excited to get into it. So those are the books that I have decided to put on my TBR. Now there's an issue with this because I didn't sleep last night, so at all, and that's why I was reading My Killer Vacation. So I don't know how this is going to go. I think I'm setting myself up for failure, but we're going to do it. So I'm going to go finish This Girl and I'll be back with you all. Okay, so I have now finished This Girl by Colin Hoover. This book, yeah, I gave it 2 stars. If you have read the Slammed series, I think that's what it's called, by Colin Hoover, what was the need for this book? I read Slammed, gave it 3 stars. Read Point of Retreat, I think I gave it 3 stars if I remember correctly. This book I gave 2 stars because I felt like I was reading Slammed again, which is the first book. It literally, everything that happened was in this book, yeah, from Will's perspective, and he was getting them on their honeymoon, talking about it and everything, and then it happening. But I was so bored because I just felt like I was reading the first book again. Now maybe if I had read this a couple of months or a year or so later after reading Slammed, I might feel different about it. But because I read it pretty much within a few days, it wasn't for me personally, because like I said, it felt like I was repeating the book and I didn't want to. I could have spent the time that I was reading this with a different book and had a completely different experience and not a repeat. So yeah, that is that book. Like I said, 2 stars. I was originally going to give it 1.5 stars, but then I thought no, I'll be a bit nicer because Slammed I did enjoy it a little bit. I liked it. It's not like I didn't like Slammed. So it wasn't the fact that I didn't like the story so much. It was just the fact that I felt like I was repeating. It was like it was the same book, but with a present timeline. Yeah, might just be my personal opinion, because I went on Goodreads and looked at some other people's reviews, and there was some 5 stars and there was some really good reviews. But like I said, it might have just been a me thing, and yeah. But that is that book. But then afterwards, I started My Killer Vacation. So this book I am 110 pages in to, and I feel like things between Miles and Taylor are happening way too quickly. It started to happen within I want to say 40, no, not even. I want to say 15, 20 pages in, and it's why so fast? And yeah, there was times where the whole book is it being up and down, but right from the get-go, they knew each other for 5 minutes, and it was just, yeah, I don't understand that at all. Another thing about this is, so far I've noticed that I'm not a big fan of the writing, which is strange because I have read It Happened One Summer and Hook, Line and Sinker from Tessa Bailey, and I really enjoyed that, like both of those books. I don't know what happened with this one. I really don't, and I feel like people have agreed with me as well. Like when I looked at some reviews, there was some like 2 stars and stuff, and like 3 stars, and people just basically saying like they don't understand what Tessa Bailey was thinking with this one, which is a harsh way of putting it, but that is what I read. Another thing that I don't like about this is Miles and his thought process. Every single time he thinks about Taylor or just sees her or has like thought about her or anything, it's always sexualized. Like he's never had a normal thought, you know. Like I don't get it. Like right from the get-go as well, and every sentence or everything he says, every piece of dialogue he has in this book, yeah, no thank you. I didn't like him at all. Like I just didn't at all. So yeah, that is probably like a first for me, because normally I'm not really too bothered, but this time it's like, yeah, I don't like it. Even Taylor, like I'm not a big fan of her. She can be kind of annoying sometimes, which, you know, I've yeah, so that is my thought process at the moment. So I'm going to go and finish this book and I will be back with you all, but at the moment it's not looking too good. Oh, another thing actually that I forgot to mention. This book, I haven't even explained what it's about. This book is basically about Taylor, and she decides to go on a vacation with her brother. So they rent out a Cape Cod, which is basically like a vacation home. They go there and they find a dead man in the home. So they end up like phoning the police, investigating it, and basically what it's supposed to be like investigating this murder. Most of this book isn't investigating this murder, and I felt like I want more of that, and I have hardly heard of it, and that's what most of it is supposed to be about, like from the description, and you hardly get any. So yeah, that is another thing. I'm gonna go and finish it anyway, stop talking about it, but yeah, like I said, it's not looking too good for me at the moment, but you know, it's not that bad to the point where I have to DNF like I was thinking about doing before, but it's not that bad to the point where I feel like I have to. So yeah, finish my rant. I'm gonna go and finish it. Taking you in this moment, come get close like you. Okay, so I have now finished my kind of vacation, and yeah, like I said, it's a 2-star for me. It wasn't the worst thing I've ever read, clearly from like my worst books of 2022. Like it's not the worst book I've ever read, but not the best either. I didn't like the dialogue at all. It was just too much, you know. Like there was no normal conversation. Well, there was, but there was hardly any normal conversation. The ending, I felt like it could have been better. Like when you found out who killed the man, I felt like it could have gone a lot better. So that is that. I think I ranted enough with the clip before with this, but now, so yeah, now I don't know if I should read After I Do or Throttled, but I'm gonna go and decide and start reading whatever one I choose, and I'll be back with you. Okay, so I am now 180 pages into After I Do, but I also didn't tell you that I have started it. So I did start it, and like I said, I'm 108 pages in, and I'm actually really enjoying it so far. I love the way the book starts, with you basically seeing them like meeting 11 years ago, well 11 and a half years ago. You see them meet, and then it jumps through the years and the times until the present time. So you see them like meet, you see them like start to fall in love, you see them get engaged, then you see them get married, you see everything, you see their lives before everything that happens, and then you jump to now where they are having marriage problems. So I love the structure of the book. I felt it was easy to understand as well. It wasn't too difficult, it wasn't all over the place. The structure and the way it was done perfectly, which doesn't surprise me with a teenage read book. And also, as I'm explaining the book, I'm also realising I didn't explain what it's about, so I'm going to do that now. So this book is basically about Ryan and Lauren, and they are in a marriage. They're married, and it's basically about them having difficulties. So they've been together for years, that they've been married for a couple of years, and then eventually everything starts to fall apart. So they decide to take a year-long break and basically see what it's like without each other, because they end up like falling out of love and everything, and there was arguing and just didn't want to be around each other kind of. And so they decide, let's take a year apart, come back and like, you know, see if anything's changed, see if we want to continue the marriage, fight for the marriage, or just end it and get a divorce and take their lives in separate directions. So yeah, I am really enjoying it so far. Such a good read. I just love Taylor Jenkins Reid's book so much, and I'm glad that, like, I knew I'd be able to get through this in one sitting, so I'm glad that I chose to do it in this video. Like, it's just such a fun time, because Taylor Jenkins Reid's books I am normally able to read in one sitting, and I am 10 hours and 23 minutes into the challenge, so this is fun. I'm enjoying it so far. So I am now going to continue, and I'll be back with you all shortly.
Taking you in this moment, come get close like you own name. Read your aura, you want more.
Okay, it's a few hours later, and I have now finished after I do. Now, wow, this book, like, no words. So I decided to give this 4 stars. It was so amazing. Quick read, read it in one sitting, obviously, because I'm doing this challenge. It was just amazing, and the ending was great. But like, I don't want to spoil it, but there's a bit where like it broke my heart when something happened. I can't say it because it will ruin it, and I don't want to spoil it, but I highly recommend that you read this, and I'm very upset that this is my last Taylor Jenkins Reid book for now. But yeah, I've finished the whole backlist and everything, and it's just so sad, but I really, really enjoyed this, and I felt like it was done very well. The writing was amazing as usual, which doesn't surprise me. The storyline, the structure, the way everything happened, and I love the way that like both of them explored and like tried to date other people, and you know, it wasn't like done in a way that isn't realistic, if that makes sense. I felt like it was done really, really well. I mean, I obviously don't know from a personal experience, but from what I can imagine, this is the way it would go if it was to happen in real life. Obviously, I don't know, that is an assumption, but from what, you know, I can guess, maybe it's the way. I mean, you know, some of you might disagree, but that is fine. So yeah, I really, really, really enjoyed this, and yeah. So I decided to rate it 4 stars. There was no reason for it particular. I might end up changing it, I don't know, but right now it feels like a good high 4 star. So yeah, not quite a 5, because like comparing it to like other books that I've read that are 5 stars, you know. And I'm being harsher in my ratings this year, which is an experience for me and showing me a lot, because most of my reads this year at the moment have been like 2 stars, 2.5, 3 stars, which is showing me that I'm reading books that I'm not really enjoying, until I read this one, and it was amazing. Okay, so the next book I'm going to start is Throttled by Lauren Asher. This book I have been meaning to start for so long. I haven't got around to it. In January I did actually read the prologue, but then unfortunately I came down with an illness, so I didn't continue. But this book, you probably all know the story if you've been here for a while, but basically it's been on my TBR September, December, January, and then this month. And I just wanted to get it read, and the mistake that I was originally making was I was putting the whole series on the TBR, and that made me feel quite overwhelmed, so I just put the first book on the TBR, and I feel less like overwhelmed with it, so that is why I feel like I'm getting to it now. Plus I feel like if I don't read it in this vlog, I'm not going to read it at all, and considering I'm being forced to like read for 24 hours straight, I feel like it's the best time. So what this is about, I'm not quite sure. I know it's like Formula 1 kind of thing, but other than that I'm not too sure. But yeah, I'm going to go and start it. 369 pages, so it hopefully won't take me long. But yeah, I've heard some amazing things about this, and so I'm going to go and start it. Okay, so the 24 hours are officially over. thank God, because I just had enough at like near the end. But I didn't film anything last night when I actually finished the book because I was so tired and I just went straight to sleep. Like, I couldn't. So the book that I finished was Startled. This I gave 3.5 stars, which is quite shocking to me because I thought that I would actually rate it higher, and I was debating a 4-star, but I was like, no, it feels like a 3.5 stars. So this book is actually about Noah and Maya. Noah is an F1 racer and Maya is kind of like a social media influencer. She does like vlogs and stuff, and she's very good at it. And her brother Santiago, which is, I believe, also has his own book, is also an F1 racer. So she decides to basically travel with him, and that is when she meets Noah, and things start to happen, and it's just a fun time. So yeah, like I said, I didn't hate it. I did enjoy it. There was times where I was bored or I felt like things were like being dragged on. The F1 racing bit, some of the stuff I found interesting, but then there was like 2 scenes where I was kind of like, okay, I've had enough of hearing about it now, which is sad. But yeah, it was a new experience, and it wasn't an experience I hated, but it was fun. Okay, so let's do a wrap up of the books that I read in this video. So the first one that I read was This Girl. I rated this 2 stars. Wasn't really my thing. Then I read My Killer Vacation. This I changed my rating to 3 stars because I realised it wasn't as bad as I thought. It could have been better, like it could have been a lot better, but it also could have been a lot worse. And from what I did get, even though I wasn't a big fan of the people or just how things went, I wasn't bored and I was able to sit down and read it like straight in one sitting, so it wasn't that bad. Like after I thought about it, then I read After I Do. I rated this 4 stars. This was so good, so interesting, really well done, really well written, and I highly recommend. And then I read Throttled, which obviously I gave 3.5 stars. So that is the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. If you did, please like and subscribe if you want. It's free, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.